Aristotle is going to give a response to the more atomic way of looking at things, part of which is going to have a huge influence on the world, beginning very quickly after the death of Christ, and really from Aristotle's time and on. The other aspect of which is going to really come about as a leading thought in about the 1200s, when a chunk of Aristotle's works are recovered that have been missing. So a couple terms that we need to establish here to understand what exactly Aristotle's talking about, what he brings is different from this to other perspectives. So to start, we have substance and accidents, right? And we need to think about these differently than we would in our own world, right? We're not talking about like a substance like liquid, the elements of the periodic table or something necessarily. An accident's like, it's not like, a car accident or something. So here's the best way to think about it, or a good way to think about it. Substance is that which is the being of a particular thing. So it's said of that thing and not something else. And then accidents always exist in substances, they don't exist on their own. So for example, a substance would be that dog right there. That particular dog is a substance. Or that person, right? There is no other person that's that exact person. An accident would be tallness, hairiness, strength, possibly. Like adjectives, right? You never see tallness in something just out there. Or you never see just blueness. Like, oh, it's blue. Well, what's blue? The sky, that car, my water bottle. So, substance, that which a thing is, that's said of that particular thing and not something else. Accident, something to describe it. All right, next we're going to get into act and potency. A good way of thinking it would be like actual or activated, like kind of that's the thought behind it. Or potency would be potential or possibility. So I am actually talking right now, and I'm in the act of talking. I have the potential to stop talking, or I have I'm in the act of sitting, and I have the potentiality of running or jumping or swimming within my being, right? Or a wood log. It's an act. It's in the act of being a log. But it has the potentiality of being a splinter if it were chopped, right, in smaller pieces. It has the potential of being made into something, like whittled into something. It has the potentiality of being on fire. These are all potential things. So lastly, and again, I'm going to have videos on each of these little terms, or like the terms in pairs of two, because it's a lot to take in all at once. Aristotle talks about matter and form. So for Aristotle, I think I mentioned this in previous videos, there's never just pure matter, or like, oh, let's start with some matter and then we'll cram it all together and make it into something. Matter is always in the form of something, right? It's not the building block Lego method like we talked about, where I can just reduce something to the most basic unit of building with matter. It's not anything, and then I just cram it together and it's something. Matter is potentiality, and then when it's in the form of something, it becomes actual. So there we go, potency and actuality. So that, again, I never just see matter over there without it being in the form of something. Like even when we look at elements on the periodic table, we can see this, right? So there's always this kind of matter. There's iron, sodium. I'm not best at the periodic table. Of course, on the spot here. But you get my point, right? It's always in this particular way, not just matter. And so this is going to shape the idea, and it goes back to act and potency as well, that further thinkers today can sometimes act as if, the only thing that's really act is the tiny little piece, right? The tiny little piece is actual, the matter's actual, and you're just really like potentiality that could change. Like you're just a bunch of matter crammed together, and your form is kind of arbitrary. Like, you being a human being is arbitrary. You're really just a bunch of atoms, right? That's all you really are at the core. It's just, you're just a bunch of atoms crammed together. But it's almost like, when you build something with Legos, like, it's really just Legos. Like, it could be a dragon, it could be a castle, it could be a person, it could be a Volkswagen Beetle out of Legos. But really, at the end of the day, it's all just Legos. Aristotle's taking the opposite perspective of this, that the matter is not really anything until it's in the form of something, until it is that particular substance. All right? Confusing enough? Perfect. And again, we'll go through more of this as a longer video, but there's a lot to put into it, and I'll be saying more in the future about it.